That's pure gaping. Fantastic. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you.
That's us live now. Very
good.
Welcome to Marfelt. Have you been down this direction before?
Probably years ago, whenever I was a teenager, going visiting in the Dormans.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
A few curtain just...
Yeah, well, we maybe wrecked our way through the place.
Are you them boys that used to come through just round, like fighting? Rough boys from the other side of the country?
No, I tell you, you wouldn't play up in Dormans.
No, the bouncers were...
You'd get your arse.
The bouncers were fairly rough back in the day, I've heard.
You didn't mess around.
Tough old boys.
Yeah.
Here, I need to clink the wee Guinness.
Cheers, guys.
Yep.
Cheers.
We'll just do it from afar.
This is the best Guinness in the Mid-Ulster area. We're not just saying that because they sponsor us.
No, it's pretty good.
It's good, isn't it?
I have to say.
It's very good.
I'm not really a Guinness drinker, but yeah, that's not bad.
No, it is good.
Best Marfelt, I would say.
Very good. But
yeah, so we would have travelled through and went into Cookstown as well back when we were young, and went as far as Oma probably.
Really?
Yeah, all we did. There's nothing in the Glens.
right
there's
enough.
not. Like, is there a
Nobody
nightclub
there.
or...
Yeah, I know. If you...
they would have
The
been
girls just didn't suit us, that way, so we had to travel.
I'll be ropey out bus journeys as well, or was
Is
it
it long
cars,
enough?
or what?
We selected a car driver, and
yeah.
that was it. And we just took our chances, and sometimes we ended up in somebody's house, and we just stayed the night. Or get up slept in the car, back then. It was maybe a bit dodgy, but you just slept and
Yeah.
get up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning and scooted back home.
You boys were out in the Wild West.
Literally.
The good old days.
It was, yeah.
But for everybody at home, welcome Michael. Glens of Antrim, potatoes, crisps, whiskey, distillery.
Distillery, yeah.
We've Michael on today just to chat about different bits of... As you can see, we've got a full table full of stuff here that he's hopefully going to leave with us.
I did that wee display.
You did a really good job with the display. Hey, what happened to your eye, by the way?
Oh, I heard it in jiu-jitsu, so I did. Just being a wee spazzy white belt, rolling with other spazzy white belts. So.
Do you do any martial arts, any jiu-jitsu?
No.
Apart from Dormans?
No.
Apart from back in the day.
I try to stay away from getting hurt.
No, very good. Well, I mentioned briefly, Michael, on the podcast, we do just wee bits of quick fire questions, and they're nothing too crazy. They're not as crazy as they used to be, put it that way. And when we're bringing on someone like yourself, they're not going to be too mental. We used to ask Fergal absolutely mental questions. And we should
try and put me in the spot.
Nobody listened to our episode 1 through 6, I think, or we'll get cancelled and we'll all get arrested. But I was going to start the quick fire quiz, Michael. Mashed potatoes or roasties?
Roasties.
Potato gratin or baked potato?
Potato gratin.
Shepherd's pie or fish pie?
Shepherd's pie.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Walkers or McCoy's?
McCoy's.
McCoy's is a meal, isn't it?
Yeah.
I had the flame grills for the first time there in a long time.
They're pretty good.
It actually took me a while to get through them. I had to set them over to the side for maybe 10 minutes and then come back to them. Tato or Doritos?
I do like tato, cheese and onion. Have to say,
the Northern Irish one?
The Northern Irish. The Southern Irish is just as good as well. I would have went for their salt and vinegar in Southern Ireland. That's quite good.
It's a bit more bitter, isn't it?
It is very potent, but cheese and onion here in the north. Yeah. But I do like, I think the cheesy flavoured Doritos, or they do a chili flavoured Dorito. Hot chili or something.
It's unreal.
I love them.
It's so Moorish.
Wotsits or Monster Munch?
Wotsits.
Oh, really?
The big Wotsits.
Oh,
they just melt in your mouth. Big fat things.
Fat melters.
Yeah.
Chippy or Chinese?
Chippy.
Pizza or Indian?
Indian.
Yeah. Ulster fry or a bowl of porridge? That's health or...
but depends what you're at.
I do like my porridge in the morning,
It's nice,
to be honest, but a fry when you're away, either on a holiday, eat. You know what? A greasy spoon any day.
Hard to beat.
Yeah.
Hard to beat.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
has to be the chicken.
There's a lot of people. Holy shit, he's answered it. Aye, well, how was the egg before the chicken? You know, Scotch or bourbon?
I think I could drink a bit of both. Really, I haven't got one either or. Really, I could drink a bit, probably more Scotch bourbon. I think because over the years there hasn't been very much bourbon over here.
Yeah,
this last 6 or 7 years, you're seeing more bourbon coming on the scene.
I don't think I've ever had a really good bourbon.
The last one, the good one I had, I think was it Woodford? Woodford Reserve?
Woodford Reserve.
It's a bourbon. It's not. It's nice. It's quite a nice one.
My first Scotch was when I was 14. My mother and father never drank.
Yeah.
But we were a wee bit roguish. And and in Cushendall, we always get a wee quarter bottle and it was Stewart's Cream of the Barley.
Oh, brilliant. My dad used to drink that.
Yeah.
That was his favourite.
Was it?
That was his favourite. What he passed away about 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
But I actually tried to source it, but I found a bottle of it.
Is it still going?
Really hard to find the source. We sourced it for my wedding there a few years ago.
Yeah.
We were just drinking it through the whole weekend, or just as a toast
Tribute.
to him. But really hard to find. They've gone out of complete commission now, and you have to buy them in liters.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's not a bad thing.
It's been years since I've tried it because again, as you said, John, it's just not there.
Very strong. Yeah. It's very, very bitter and strong.
So that was kind of like my first taste of
whiskey.
That's my first as well. Actually. I remember stealing a wee bit of my dad's years ago.
And that would bring it back a memory too.
Oh, yeah. You're connected to those things, like those tastes.
Definitely.
Favorite whiskey apart from your own? Special occasion, probably whiskey. Would it be
whiskey? You know what I do? If I go into a bar and I'm drinking with my mate who likes Black Bush, so I would have a Black Bush. Other than that, I would try other whiskies as well, different ones if it's a special. Different occasion. I have a wee small bar in the house.
Nice.
And have got about 100 different whiskies there that I've tried. And I'm one, oh shit. That bottle's parked. It's not going anywhere.
Yours sounds like you're spoiled for choice, to be honest.
I'm trying to think. And I've had one there lately and I thought, it's quite good. I wonder what one it was. It'll come back to me in a minute, but I'll get back.
Redbreast. I love Redbreast.
Redbreast, 12-year-old or 10-year-old. Pot still beautiful.
Yeah. Hard to beat. I know it's very commercial, but it's very nice.
It's so good.
It's Yellow Spot.
Yes, I've heard of this.
Yellow Spot is quite good. I don't know what the other spots were like, but Yellow Spot, definitely. A nice, smooth tasting whiskey.
It's meant to be nice, I was looking at that online. I haven't made the purchase yet. But
do you window shop whiskies?
All the time,
And cigars?
I want that 100 selection of whiskies in my own bar someday. When I get this house built, definitely. It's going to be a wee...
I could give 50 bottles away that I wouldn't drink. Somebody will come into the house and I'll give them, look, do you want to try a wee bit of that stuff?
And if they like it, then it's theirs.
Here, keep drinking that. Get rid of it.
Very good. Gin or vodka?
More vodka, but I this last 2 or 3 years I've tried different gins, but all the different flavours of gins. You know what?
Too many.
Tanqueray is I just like a nice Tanqueray gin. Just keep it, instead of all
simple.
these citrusy flavours, just keep it simple. Yeah. Another one is the Botanist gin out of one of the Isles. Nice, smooth drinking gin. But I can drink either or, but vodka would be Stoley's.
Yeah.
Still itching.
Stoley's?
Still itching. Yeah.
Oh, yes, I think
I just shorten it down to Stoley's.
Yeah,
it's quite a decent vodka.
We're very food orientated, as you can see. We invite people that make a lot of food. We always ask our guests death row meal. So if you're on death row, what's your final meal? And it can be anything, any amount of anything. It can be liquid, it can be a meal, it can be...
Well, I would have to get hammered in whiskey to start off with. And it would be steak.
Steak.
And I probably would have to go to, if it was going to be that, it would have to be a Wagyu grade 9.
Yes.
Just totally outstanding.
Top notch.
Taste everything, and probably crispy asparagus on the side, and maybe some baby roasties.
dessert or anything? Or
more whiskey? Apple pie and ice cream.
Oh,
deadly.
Deadly.
Or rhubarb. Apple or rhubarb. Definitely, it's just one of them things.
Nice.
None of this, not the mass-produced stuff, but one that's made at home.
Homemade,
Decent crust on it.
Yeah.
More like a
Granny's made
shortbread type crust.
aye.
You get the flavour, plenty of butter, made with plenty of butter.
Class.
I haven't had dinner yet. I knew I made a mistake.
Getting hungry.
I was like, well, is he going to bring crisps? Is he not? I don't know. Is he going to bring
Is
crisps?
that your dinner?
Cheese board with a port.
Oh,
very nice.
yeah. Just to
Definitely.
finish everything off.
Yeah, yeah.
That reminds me of Christmas. Cheese
Yes.
board and a bit of pork.
Oh, we always go overboard with the cheese board. Me and my brothers get involved, and then it's like we'll go to Sawyer's and we'll get all the chili jams and all that.
Oh,
so
that's
good,
delightful.
man.
Yeah.
So good.
I'm starving. The next question is 3 people at your dinner table. So that's kind of like your final dinner table, not in death row, but in general. You know, if you had to sit down with 3 people, past, present, you know, throughout time, who do you think would be 3 interesting people to sit with?
Jeez, that's put me on the spot.
Yeah. You can still
Clint Eastwood to start off
That's a
with,
good one,
because just his, you see his sternness there.
He's a
Probably
crap at it,
no
like.
bullshit
Yeah.
answers.
I'd probably ask you, why am I at your dinner?
Yeah, I know. I'm going because, I just want you for the fucking hell of it, just to pull a fucking gun on me or something. Who else? Thinking of the world leaders, probably somebody like the Dalai Lama or somebody like that, just to knock a bit of sense into me. He's probably gone back in the day, not even.
Any celebs? Anybody music or film, or you're like love to have them?
Fuck it. I don't want to say something to anybody just for the sake of saying a name.
Yeah.
But again, look, skip on to something else and I'll come back to it.
We'll come back. It'll probably come to you later on.
Yeah.
Next part's actually your origin story, Michael. I was going to chat to you. We always say first memory. And I know that can be tough sometimes. People are like, what's the first memory? But is there any memory, you know, from childhood that you remember, one of your first fondest memories or whatever it is?
I think looking back, we had a big family. I had 5 sisters and 2 brothers.
Yeah.
And we had a slope behind the house. And we had, the old turf bags, plastic turf bags.
Yeah.
That's what we used as a sleigh, and we slid down on
Class.
horses when it did snow. And you always did get snow in the winter time. I'm talking late 70s.
Yeah.
And you always get snow then. Every winter you get snow. And that's a memory there. And there's other memories playing hide and seek. We had this, 2 minutes from the house, a place called Dan's Hill. It was an uncle's place. But it was full of wee nooks and crannies and heights. We used to play hide and seek there. But that was kind of good memories that that's 2 that would kind of stick out.
Yeah. What area were you brought up in?
So we're in between. We lived in Glen Ballyeamon, so Ballyeamon, and then my mother and father moved into a bigger house because there was about 8 of us in a. It was 4 in a room. That's how it worked out. And you wore each other's clothes down.
Yeah.
So I have 3 older sisters, so it's like wearing some girls' clothes on stage. You can't do this to me. But I survived it anyway.
Some trauma still in there.
There is, you can see that. But I think we moved in on a bigger site, which sits on the side of a mountain overlooking Cushendall.
Beautiful.
But I'm actually a Glenarif man.
Right.
That's where my father originally came from. That's where he was kind of born. So we're Glenarif men at heart. The business is basically Cushendall because of the address.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it lodged right in the centre of the Glens.
Yeah. Well, first school, primary school. What was the primary school you were at?
St Patrick's Primary, Waterfoot. It was a bit of a blur, to be honest. Total blur.
Too long ago.
Yeah. I know,
Was it a big school? Was it just all boys or what?
But no, boys and girls, small classes, like maybe 10 children. I mean, the Glens weren't big places now like doubled in size. But yeah, St Patrick's Primary School, and then you went to St Aloysius, which was there's Garntower round the shore, and then there was Ballycastle, and those that didn't want to go to school went into St Aloysius and Cushendall. Fuck, it's a rough. It was rough. It was.
Was it just like a holding area?
It was like this is where the future convicts are.
Let's get them used to this. 3 square meals.
They used to call it the Dunces Academy.
The
Dunces Academy. That's where you went. It's knocked down now. They kept a wee bit of it. I don't know, but
did you enjoy school or?
You know, it wasn't. If you wanted to learn, you could. But there's the majority. There's boys from Carnock in there. Jeez, they created merry hell, and then you get the locals as well, and they just didn't want to do anything. Just do anything. There's people you want to learn. The teachers would taught you. I had one fella, and he's a friend of mine, and I was trying to teach him algebra. I think we were 3rd, maybe 4th year algebra. And he was fucking talking away, and the teacher said, his name's James. James, what would you share us what you're talking about? I'm trying to teach algebra. And he said, fuck, I don't want to be taught algebra. How is that going to fill a tractor full of diesel? And he cursed and he says, James, pick your bag up and go out. And I went, can I go out as well? Because I don't want to learn algebra. And it was never going to be any good to us. To most people. I think if we were going to a certain part of further education or a different type of job that used algebra. But for us, no, there was nothing. So, look, there were good times, but there's times you'd be walking down the corridor. I remember I was 2nd year and a 4th year just came up. Just walking down the corridor, and just headbutted me out of the blue. Going,
don't be looking at me.
It was just a bit like that there.
Nuts. Well, did you find you had a flair for anything, like any of the subjects or anything you enjoyed going to?
You know what? I liked woodwork and metalwork. I was good at that. So I was kind of farming background anyway, so I was driving tractors, and I think the first memory of driving a tractor, they wouldn't let you do it now, but when you're bringing in hay, there was a wee Dexter tractor, no roll bar, nothing on it. I was on there at 7, low first. All you were told, do not drive over the bales. Yeah. And that was your first throwing into learning about farming. So you were pretty hands-on at that stage as well. Class. But that there, like I could do maths, English I struggled, I'm dyslexic. So I couldn't, the words were like, what the fuck are all these?
Chinese.
So, yeah, totally a wee bit. But you'd overcome that.
Yeah.
Science was always great because people were burning stuff. And they're trying to create
this does sound like jail.
But that's kind of the school
years.
It's closed. I think it closed maybe 5 years after I left.
Did you have a family sort of role at home within the farm? You mentioned farming there.
So
what's the background?
Yeah, in the morning before I went to school, I would have felt we'd cattle and sheep. I call them white vermin because I hated them. Sheep, fucking them things. And I think it's because you're always having to work with them. When your friends were out in the summer, when you were off school, they were either clipping them, they'd fucking sore feet. There was lambs, there was dosing, and your summer was taken up looking after the stock. And I think we had about 15, 20 head of beef cattle as well. So my job in the morning was I got up, fed the animals, because my father, he was on the trucks. So he would have went up and around Belfast, and we'd have run from, he started off in Belfast on a Monday.
What was the trucks?
The spud lorries.
Right, okay.
Spuds, so we were packing spuds. He started packing spuds in early 70s at the same time. So we had a bit of both going at the same time.
Yes.
So he grew potatoes. His father grew potatoes as well. And so I was I done that. And then whenever I come home from school in the evening, I fed them in the evening time as well. You stank in the morning. Jesus, silage. Oh,
And
you
then
went
you
to
got
school
into-
kind of half rotten.
You go into school stinking.
Oh, totally. But well, you washed up and camouflaged it as best you could.
Spread.
Stick on a
Yeah,
bit
it's
of links.
You hadn't got Africa back in them days. Had to do with something else.
Cushendall as well. You mentioned there your grandfather. Was he the founder of the very, very start, say, the origin?
No, well, my father would have started it.
Okay.
I suppose my father and my mother together, just as a unit, kind of started it. But he would have grown potatoes, and then he had a run before retail ever took off, before the Wellworths, before Dunn stores ever sort of came about. He would have went on all the fruit and veg shops about Belfast, and ended up round by Larne.
He toured around.
Every day, just 125 kilo bags of brown paper bags, and then he started to put them into wee plastic bags, and then they started to supply Dunn stores at that stage in the late 70s. So he'd run round all of Northern Ireland to run. Then whenever that started, then we started supplying Wellworths at the same time. So we'd have run right from Newry, Warren Point, Kilkeel, and then up through, you went to Annandale, then Park Centre. And then the next day you would have, Wellworths would have been slotted in between this, and then we'd have run to Omagh, Enniskillen. You went to Strabane, Derry, Coleraine, in around all the Wellworth stores. Whoa. So that was it, going steady.
Yeah, just every day. Just some route.
How many acres, I suppose, did you do a year? Or?
Oh, well, we grew a fair wee bit, but we sort of outgrew or grown our own growing capacity as well. So then we started to buy off growers outside of that, and farmers grew spuds for us. And then it just progressed after.
Yeah. Well, I was just to say there, after you finished school, were you full time on the farm, or were you trying to find a job, or what was next for you?
I had to agree with the educational board to stay in school 2 days a week whenever I was in fourth year. And then fifth year, I think I went down to 1 day. Back then, you could they said, look, he's not interested in school. I think maybe even went in 2 days a week whenever I was 15 or 16. Just into the factory, basically. Done the sheep in the factory. Done a term at Greenmount College as well. 1 day a week there, and I done a day a week at the tech. So I learned how to plumb, how to take things apart. So you're kind of a bit of spark. And
it's useful these days.
I wish I was a plumber.
Don't we all?
You can't get them. And then they charge you 5 times what they should.
Some surprise when the bill comes. Like,
yeah.
You just go here. Any jobs?
Yeah, I know. As I saying to some of the guys, if I ever do something again, I'm going to be a plumber. So you learned a wee bit of that. So if I had the right equipment, I could probably plumb, because I still have a bit of a knowledge here in the head. But I've kind of done that, and you know what? Just done a bit with animals. And I thought, wow. Milking, I done a bit of milking cows, and that was 6 o'clock in the morning. And 7 days a week, and I'm going, no, I can't get out of this.
Is this was this your own land you were doing it on?
Yeah, that was my father's. Well, we'd beef and sheep, but no, the milking and stuff was done via Greenmount College that you learnt a bit of trade there, just how to. But it came to the bit when they taught you how to. There must have been some idiots go to some of the colleges as well, because they had to teach us how to dig a spade right. And as I get here and bend your back, and I'm going, fuck right, I've had enough of this. And that was me. That finished me. I'm going, no, I'm not doing it. You have to teach us how to. It taught you how to take a chainsaw apart and fix it and put it back together. So you did learn some good things.
Stuff.
But no, whenever I done that, I just decided, no. Into the spuds. By that stage, I was going into meetings with my father then, into some of the buyer meetings with Wellworths and thing. But then Wellworths was bought in '95 by Sainsbury's. Or no, Wellworths weren't bought. Sainsbury's entered the market in 1995, and that was kind of me slowly getting into account management. So then I was going to London for the meetings. back and forward.
Whining and dining. And
a bit of, I was young at that stage. You go into London and it opens your eyes. I was 23, 24 and a wee bit dumb on it as far as travelling goes. But I could tell you some stories.
Get the whiskey out there. They were great stories. I'm glad we didn't have them on the camera.
They were X'd out.
I can't believe you did that in London. Jesus Christ. Weren't still out for you.
It's a distant memory. It's a distant memory now.
Very good. So account managing in London then, how did you feel about that? Did you enjoy the sort of?
I kind of did because you were getting on a plane, you were travelling, you're seeing a bit more of the world, and for me it's a bit more sexier than looking after animals and stuff. So it's getting to see the world a wee bit as well, and you were meeting other companies that were supplying. So we would have went to conferences and supplier meetings along with other suppliers. So I was learning off them as well.
Yeah. Well, what was the industry like back then for the likes of potatoes and selling them over to London, for example, or over to England? What was
well, the buyer, we weren't, because they opened stores here and they wanted some Irish supply here. But the buying was all done out of London. They started off in Blackfriars and then they changed to Holborn, just different places. But I've had so many different buyers, some arseholes, and amongst it all, I had a buyer at one stage. I had a crooked buyer in Sainsbury's, and he was jailed. He worked with the potato company. This was maybe 15 years ago, maybe. And but he would have put a price. So he would have said to the suppliers, put an extra 50p in that, but give me the extra 50p in the side. He didn't do it with me, but he done it with, and the same, he was my buyer, but he was doing it with one of the bigger companies in England. But he had somebody below him who managed me, and he says, if I want to know anything about spuds, and I was trying to check, that's fucking not the way, we don't want that. We don't want this, we want this. He says, my granny's from Belfast. If I want to know anything about Northern Ireland, I'll ask my granny. And I went, you fucking little bastard. So I just went above his head and said, I can't deal with that. He disappeared as well.
There's always arseholes about that.
So that teaches you. Now, there's good buyers out there as well, good Sainsbury's buyers and good other buyers that we deal with. But that was the start of me getting into account management and learning a bit about from the, I suppose, the English and Scottish and even the Welsh potato suppliers. So that gave me an idea of what's going on, and trying to bring that over to here.
Learning
it was coming, it was slowly coming anyway, but it's to learn that, and that's whenever we started to put up cold storage to store potatoes longer. Whereas here, normally the spuds cut out, and then remember the Cyprus, when you still get them, Cyprus would come in because the whole season, the whole potato crop didn't last, because we had good summers back then, so the spuds would started to grow, so you couldn't really eat them come the end of May. So Cyprus come in, and then that run through to the new season again. But now with cold storage, we can keep the potatoes into the end of July and into mid-August. We'd store them at 2 degrees. And that just stops the wee buds from opening their eyes. So that was part of getting started at a young age, and you got your arse kicked away at times too.
You learned from it anyway.
You did. I know. That's why I've got grey hair now.
When did the cold storage start? When did you start doing that?
We built cold store. Our first cold stores we built in 1998.
Were you the first to kind of do it around here?
We were, yeah. Well, the big multiples kind of said, look, if you want to supply us, you need to have cold storage. You need to use our model that we use in the UK to do what we want here. And if we didn't, they would have brought the spuds in.
From different country?
Yeah, totally. So we kind of, we'll have to do this with the grower base, and then slowly other growers would have put up small cold stores themselves, and other packers would have done the same. So that's kind of And it was quite good because then you could put them in. You knew the quality was there to run them the whole way through. And slowly Cyprus kind of slipped off to the side then because local consumers were fit to get, say, Kerr's Pink longer rather than running out of season and Piper a wee bit longer. So that's kind of, it's just progression, really.
Does that change the taste of them at all?
No, it doesn't, no. There's no chemicals. We wouldn't have put chemicals on. We just use cold. It's just cold air.
Did some people do that chemical?
They would have used chemicals years ago, but with European legislation and law, they kind of banning bad chemicals. Even today, see Roundup, you get the wee things Roundup to kill the grass. Yeah. Waste of time. You get that 10 years ago, that was fucking the grass would have been dead 3 days later.
You would have heard the grass screaming every night.
Maybe, well, in fairness, and probably some birds dead with it. But now, the birds would be over, like, there's water, I'll lick away at it, they'll be all right. Yeah, so it's probably more environmentally friendly, and that's probably the way we should go with any chemical usage. But it's a bit like when you put, and you do need chemicals to, like bright blight sprays, but as long as you leave long enough harvest period from when you spray, that goes out of the potato. So you give it 10 days before you harvest it, it's okay.
Yep.
And you do testing for that to make sure it is.
Very good. I read somewhere, it must have been some wee literature somewhere, you must have been talking about it, was the lumper type of potato.
Yeah.
Talk to me a wee bit about that. I thought it was quite interesting to hear.
I met a hobby breeder 2008 or 2009, and he's from Longford, and these really unusual spuds, and he says that's the lumper, it's the potato in the Irish famine. And I went, Jesus, I'm quite into my spuds, and I came back, I walked away, I thought about it, I wonder would he give me a couple of them, and he only had about 6 or 7 of them, and I says, look, don't mind me asking, can I take a couple? I told him who I was and I was into spuds. And I said, take them. They're a disaster. You'll not even like them. They wouldn't, they'll not do anything for you. So anyway, I put them in a garden. I dug up a bit of the garden out the back of my house, put them in the garden, and I got 2 wee tubers. From the first year then, they give me 20 wee tubers, and I planted them 20 wee tubers next year. And then they grew out, and I tasted them then, I went, Jesus, the history book says they were only fit for cattle feed, for feeding animals. I went, Jesus, these are quite good. So from there, I went to SASA in Scotland, which is the Scottish Agricultural College, and they hold a gene bank of different varieties, whether it's seeds, potatoes, going back in history as much as they have. And they did a cutting of the lumper. So then I started to reproduce this. It takes about 5 years.
It was expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Expensive just to get that,
just to start that wee stem.
Yeah.
And then they plant all the wee stems and that goes. So that took 5 years for me to actually get a crop that I can go now and plant it.
Yeah.
So I had to do that for 5 years. And in the meantime, I was growing all these other wee varieties in the garden going, look what I've got, look what I've got. And that was quite good as well. So it gave me a wee bit of the man that brought back the Irish lumper potato.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, and we sold it in, Marks and Spencer took it. But because it was very knobbly, it damaged going through our equipment. So it bruised very easily. So what I actually done with it towards the end, and the seed's lost now because we lost the last 2 years with the bad weather. I've lost it. So if I want to do it, I have to start all over again.
To go back to Scotland.
But I got a call from, this is where I've some, you talk about stories of where I've been, what I've done. I got a call from a guy, CCAFE, a fellow Michael Blanche from Dublin. He says, I'm interested. You've got the Irish lumper potatoes, the Irish family potato. I'm very interested. Will you give me a call? And I'm who's this fucking fella from Dublin give me a call out of the blue? He's not wanting to buy it. He wants to talk about it. And, I kind of was going. I was busy doing other things. Then I got a call from this other guy. He says, "It's Pete St. John here. I want you to meet me and Michael Blanche down in Dublin. We're very interested about the lumper." So Pete St. John is the guy that wrote Fields of Athenry.
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Nuts.
And so I'm going, Pete St. John's. I googled Pete St. John's, this fella with black hair and in his 50s, and I went, okay. So I rang the back, so I go down and meet you. Mm-hmm. So I went down and met them and going, this old fucking guy sitting in the corner about 85, and I'm going, where's Pete St. John? It's me over here. Spudman, over here. And I'm going, so I brought my lumper. He carried the lumper of potato in his pocket and showed everybody this is about history, because obviously his tie-in was because he wrote the song Fields of Athenry. So it's a bit. So we travelled we done round and different things. You know, we were invited to Canadian Day, and we're invited to Michael Higgins. He's got some of the spuds in the garden.
Class.
In Phoenix Park.
Very good.
So and Michael Blanche, what he done was he actually got the Irish government. He plagued them for 10 years. There should be a Pacific Day for the Irish famine. Mm-hmm. There's nothing in Dublin, not even in Collins's barracks.
Yeah.
There's nothing to Irish famine. There is now, because he's forced them and shamed them into actually putting something up. And even at that, it's kind of shameful a wee bit.
Yeah.
And he fought for years and years.
Yeah.
And still fighting. He chained himself outside the Dáil.
Good for him.
Shaming and shouting at the politicians come in and out.
There's people actually starting to talk about it a bit more now. There was guilt for years. I learned. Me and Fergal was actually there with me. I did I started a documentary series about the immigrants close by.
Yeah,
and they talked about there's this immigrant guilt, and it transcends the generations, and people don't really want to chat about it.
5 generations before the trauma of what happened. The Irish famine takes 5 generations, and that's still in the Irish people today.
Yeah, I was going to say it probably comes back to, they're talking about the lumper potatoes, and they're like, oh, it's only for the cattle, and that sounds a wee bit suspect.
No, it wasn't, but it depended on, we grew different fields in different locations, and some of the fields, the potatoes weren't as good as other fields. So some fields were nice and dry and flurry, and the others were just a bit soapy on it. Yeah. It was just that field that they grew in. Yeah. If we'd grown on Piper or Rooster in the same field, it wouldn't have been as good as maybe this other field. So towards the end, what I done then, Michael Blanche, I said, Michael, look, it's not doing here. There's too many issues with it, and nobody's really picking up on it. But what we'll do is we give it to the school children all over Ireland, and we put it in a bag. Dunn Stores deliver it. In March, along with a wee booklet about the Irish famine, and the kids grow it, and they're taught about the Irish famine.
In
the curriculum in Ireland, in North and South, but the North was we tried to go to the politicians going, this is where the education board is.
Didn't want to know anybody.
Didn't want to know, but down there it was like, yeah, we like this idea, it's an educational, but it's a living. It's like a living thing that the kids could see growing, and then it's part of the famine, so they learn it.
It's really interesting. And we actually had a guest on, I don't know, you mightn't have heard of him, he's called Indiana Stones. So he's from down, so I think maybe Kerry. Yeah. And Westmeath, sorry. And Fergal contacted him, and we had him on, and he's going around Ireland at the moment, lifting stones from villages and towns.
We'd make a good job of him in the party field.
Hire him now.
he's going around lifting these gigantic, massive stones, and he's like kind of striving to find all these different large Irish cultural symbols in these towns, because these massive boulders or stones used to be a part of like marriage ceremonies. Who's the head of the town? Is there a funeral? This was like a piece of history on each sort of person's town. But there's a knowledge gap that he's found in his travels because of the famine.
Yes.
So people left the famine. We know the story of the famine. We were forced out, and everybody has left. And people forgot about that tradition of using that stone. Yeah. So he started maybe last year, and he's nearly 4 documentaries crews following him now. He's bringing this Irish culture back.
Brilliant.
And at the same time, he's getting people reaching out to him. Like wee Jimmy Murphy down in Galway. Yeah. In this wee village, is going here.
There's a stone here.
There's a stone here. Yeah. We don't know much about it. If you
come and
down,
take a look?
Come on down. And he comes down. Can't really find too much detail, but he says like he randomly walks around the town, and he's talking to people, and someone would come over and go, and the man would be, in his 90s, and goes, I know where the rock is, and that's where it's at, and he'd spend the day finding it.
He probably would, and that's the generation that's dying out
That's the
now,
generation.
and that won't be passed along.
Exactly. No. So he is invigorating
documenting
that. He's documenting and invigorating that culture that we've lost because of the famine, and he's trying. They're making a map of all the rocks and all like around there.
See that there? That's what Michael Blanche is doing now. He's putting a marker. Where there's been a workhouse, there's a mass grave, and he puts a marker there. In every town and village, wherever it is, all over Ireland.
We've one.
So, and even, they said the north wasn't really affected. There's a soup kitchen in Ballycastle, in Randallstown there was one.
Oh, Jesus, they're hiding if it's affected.
They're all over the place, but it's just nobody's
talking
about it or doing enough about it. But to me, that's a bit, it's very, very interesting. If you go to me and Pete and Michael flew over to, he done a thing in the UN. There's a replica of the famine ship at the end of the United Nations down in Manhattan. He went down there, done a piece, and it was a World Peace Day, and sang a song down there in the replica. But they don't actually; it's all boarded off. They don't let anybody down there. But there's also down by, I think it's Battersea, down in Lower Manhattan, like an Irishman left a block, and there's a stone. There's a house there, a famine house that was built in that, and there's a stone from every county in Ireland on it.
Class.
And that's just down from where the Twin Towers thing is. So anybody that goes to Manhattan, go there because it's very interesting. As well as that, go to the Tennant Museum over on east, on the, I think it's maybe the lower west side or lower east, just opposite where Brooklyn is. Very interesting of how the Irish immigrants lived, and there's a story there, and they told it. So whenever I was plodding the streets, on the whiskey plodding the streets of Manhattan last year,
you're learning all this.
I was going there here, and I met some fucking characters there. You're going to find something. You'll find it in New York.
So with the lumper, kind of hit a bit of a dead end in the north. Anyway, I suppose it wasn't commercial enough for people.
It wasn't, but so then I decided I'm just going to keep it as an educational thing. But I forget we're having a very difficult time with the weather this last 2 years and the potato crop currently. But once I get this out of the way and things, maybe the weather settles down a bit and potato prices aren't all over the show and supply is an issue at the minute. Once I do that, I'm going to probably start producing new seedlings again.
Very good.
And start, but it'll take me, it's going to be another 5-6 years.
Yeah.
But I have a plan down the line of what I want to do with it
Liberal
as well.
love.
It kind of is, but it's a bit of history as well.
Yeah,
and
it is very interesting.
Whenever you work, if you can give something back or do something, and then you meet, what it is, I meet a lot of great people. I would never met Pete or Michael Blanche.
Yeah, passionate.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. But then that's kind of the spuds. From there, it's just growing to where we're at now.
Yeah. What about the crisps? How did the crisps come into play?
Potatoes are kind of, so you get, as a company we looked at, we kind of done all we could do in potatoes. So we have to look at, what else can we do? So potato crisp was natural. And we looked at it and going, everybody said, you're bloody mad. You're Tato, you've got Walkers, you've got KP, you've this and you've that. And we're going, yeah, but we're going to give it a go. So what we actually done, first of all, we got some crafts made for us in England, just to test the market, and there was a bit of feedback here. So then we bought our own equipment, our own fryers. We didn't go mainstream with the fryers. We went slightly different, more circular.
Right.
And that gave us a different frying process, because most of the big crisp manufacturers, great big long line, potatoes come in and by the time they go to the other side, they're crisp, but our frying gives it a nice, more potato type texture. And then just adding good flavours to that. So we started that, and we've built the business up to the Glens of Antrim brand. We've introduced the Shindig brand, which is kind of ridge cut and good flavours. But a lot of the flavouring out there, you taste and go, it's a nice enough crisp, but the flavouring, there's not enough on it, or it's not.
It's not consistent.
You know, in Northern Ireland or in Ireland in general, we love our food and we want it to taste. So we kind of focused on that there, and the business grew. So, and we do private label as well. So we do private Dunstore Simply Better range. We do Tesco Finest in the south. The north is now finally starting to look at it. They wouldn't pay the price before. Maybe just a buyer would say, "Well, we don't want the business." If because here's the price. That's what it takes to produce an artisan crisp. We use a high oleic sunflower oil, whereas most manufacturers, I say they're a standard oil, standard sunflower oil, or it's mixed with another oil just to make it cheap. To produce. So our oil, we refer to it in high oleic, so it's more refined, so it's actually better for you health wise. As far as an oil can go, but it's healthy. But and that's kind of where we've progressed from there. So
he's opening it up.
Here we go.
You can't bring this amount of crisp and not open.
John, he wasn't even finished the story, and you had it open. What one do you think I should try? Let me try that ham. That one you were talking about before.
There is that. There's the whiskey in the box. There's the Irish whiskey smoked.
Oh,
bacon.
yes, I'll give that a go.
So what brought about shindigs?
Jude, what do you want?
I can get that done. I can keep playing on.
The shindigs were. That's my favourite there. Roast beef and mustard.
Yeah.
Cannot. Out of them all, I'd go for that there.
So how did this packaging came along?
Excuse me.
We kind of.
We wanted to do something slightly different than an ordinary.
Have you seen this?
An ordinary packet of crisps.
It's like a box.
Aye, there's a box inside it.
Oh, deadly.
Look at this.
So it's perfect for.
The way in the bar you open it up, you do that always. Look at that.
That's class.
Isn't that cool?
It's like a wee entertainment box.
So you know what's perfect for that there. Number one, we wanted to give it a ridge cut, but we didn't want to be the same as the likes of McCoy's and put it into a standard bag. So we wanted to put it into a box, a sharing box for two, or as I said, one. If you're a bit of a piggy wiggy, but
it's your box now.
And again, create reasonable flavours for it as well. And we decided to call it shindig because it's a party. Shindigs throughout the world is known as
having a shindig.
It's a party. You go to America,
class.
it's a bit like a party.
Do you know what kind of reminds me of? My dad was a spud farmer back in the day as well, so he was. The crates for picking the spuds.
The big wooden boxes, or is it the big wooden boxes?
Or the wee baskets. The wee baskets we would use.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like them.
So it gives you kind of that rustic feel.
It's cool.
And even if you're in a cinema, in the cinema you rattle of the bag and you go, fuck, I wish you'd fucking hurry up and eat them bag of crisps. Whereas you have that there in the box, getting the packet of rattle.
Good idea.
So we're aiming that, and that's kind of, we did launch it about 2 years ago, but we kind of rebrand it now, got a better size. We just learned, we may be too soon for the market. We rebrand it, got a better box size, and just worked on our flavour profile. So we're starting to launch really that out now.
Really, really nice.
Good to keep an eye on the cameras. He's usually eating them over gawking and stuff.
But the thing about that, you get the potato flavour coming through as well.
Yeah, I've just felt
it's not just the flavour, but you get potatoes. You get the potato.
What else is it? Try that.
I've got it. I'm getting home here now. You see anything that sounds like a Sunday dinner or a dinner, you're like, I get
that's
that.
It.
Sorry, this is the last one I'll try. It's that
good.
gammon and pineapple you were saying.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever tried that.
They're lethal.
Can we go with that? Hold on.
You can tell I haven't had dinner yet.
I have.
So I just said earlier, the gammon and pineapple came from the old Tudor crisp bag, and it was our production manager that said, Michael, gammon and pineapple, Tudor crisps made them 20 years ago. I think for him it was a childhood memory.
Yeah.
He says, let's try and replicate that. That's one of our best sellers.
You really taste the mustard in this. It's lovely.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
I don't even want to give you these.
You want to try it?
So the roast beef and mustard, that's mine all day long. If you love mustard, you get it.
There you go.
That's lovely.
Give me them back.
I am leaving the box here. You know, I'm not. You don't have to fight over it.
Give me that.
My dinner.
No, I just want to try a few before we move.
Ooh, strong. They're really strong, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they definitely feel like our luxury crisps. You know, they definitely feel like they are a more upmarket crisp.
Yeah, you know, we cook them with the skin on, and again, that high oleic oil gives it just a nice flavour.
You can kind of see it in the ridge of them.
Yeah. And, you know, we're making it as natural as possible. And they're cooked in maybe, you know, we don't do them big batch. We do them in 20 kilo batches. They're fried in 20 kilos at a time.
Yeah.
Where the big guys are just hammering through, produce it as quick as possible. But for us, we want it, you know, whenever you're having that bit of indulgence, you want it to be nice, you want it to be lovely.
Yeah.
You know, it's like eating a cream cake. You want fresh cream and you want something.
Yeah, exactly. Aye.
That's not. You want the fresh cream.
Yeah, if you're going to treat yourself, you might as well bloody treat yourself.
Oh, totally.
No, them roast beef are
High class.
the mustard. You're right.
You can taste the mustard.
Aye, really, really good.
Really, really nice.
There's not much talking being done here at this point. It's just eating.
You just can have them. You can have them later. Don't worry.
Aye.
So I think there are most retailers now. It does take time to build that brand, and it's taken us probably 6 years now. Now, you had COVID thrown in amongst all of this, and obviously some supply issues. But we're slowly starting to create that brand now. And again, as I said, you know, we're producing private label because the big multiples are going, we see you as the kind of the best crisp in Ireland at the minute. And the other guys that we would have benchmarked ourselves on is Keogh's crisps as a very good crisp as well. And they see, you know, we're not far off each other, and they do small batch frying, but the multiples seen us as doing it better with better, you know, a lot of good technical people at work and technical backup. Because when you supply their private label, the documents you have to fill in to make sure, because they don't want anything happen to their brand like the Tesco Finest, because it knocks effect onto maybe not just crisps, it's maybe not, people go, oh, do you hear about the Tesco Finest? Don't be buying that. So you do, you have to, the rules you have to apply in the boxes you have to tick to make sure that goes out.
The best
So we've got a great team producing the crisps, and they do it day in, day out. Just,
I wish you luck with these shindigs because they're class.
They're unreal.
you know,
I want to see them. I want to see them.
one of the girls went to America. She had this show on Chicago, and we just went out with it to try it. They loved it. We're looking for an importer, and they love it. They want to bring it out to America, and it does ship. Crisps do. The problem with crisps is when you open this half a bag of air, and everybody's saying, "Oh, you're filling it half through," but that's all to do with equipment and speed of equipment. So whenever you fill, you know, whenever you're putting it into the machines are putting it into a crisp bag. Crisps are quite bulky.
You can't.
They're all over, so the machines are going like this. So you need quite a big bag to make that happen. And then the crisps settle through transports. They're all settling down. So that's whenever you open a bag of crisps, they're going, "Jeez, where are they?"
Yeah. Well, there's a few suppliers that are doing it.
And you think you're getting a big bag of crisps, but actually you're not. You're getting a 60 gram.
Might as well be a fucking beach ball.
Yeah. And we want it. So with shindigs, what we found is we're actually not shipping air because the box is quite full.
Aye.
So you're actually shipping good loads. Potentially could ship, but then we've got another issue with that. We've got to grow the spuds. So getting the spuds to grow, to supply and demand, so it creates another issue for you. It's a good thing to have, but we're working on that because in the States, believe it or not, shindigs, they see shindigs as a party.
Yeah.
As well.
That's their thing. Yeah. So many Irish went over there, and those words followed over.
Oh, totally. So it's kind of So that's starting to push slowly here. We're looking at UK market over there as well, slowly, but it does take time. It does take time to do it.
So very good. Michael, crisps are obviously a hit, and they're growing as we speak. So what was next then? Like you were chatting about you have the whiskey there as well. What made you... What was that sort of wee idea in your head? Whiskey is the next thing we're going to give a go.
Well, for me, we at the time we were starting crisps, we kind of had two crisps or whiskey. What will we go into at that point?
How long? Sorry, when was the crisps? When was the crisps started?
2015 or 16.
Right.
I think it's whenever we go on, let's do this.
Aye.
I would take a year to get into it and get the productions going, or a year and a half, and then slowly push it out. And then it just slowly builds after that. So maybe, geez, it could be 2017.
Suppose the crisps was not a quicker option, but a quicker one to get into.
It was easier because we were spuds.
Yep.
Whiskey was totally different. And a whiskey were kind of, so this took off. Whiskey was kind of, let's keep the research going, let's keep looking at it, and try to get a site for if we're going to do it, how we would do it, or a location for it.
For a distillery? Or?
For the distillery. So...
You're not like Conor McGregor, just going to someone else's distillery?
Well, there's two, the market changes that quickly, whereas so we did create a brand while we were waiting on the distillery. It took we got a site in Cushendall. It was a family site, and it's opposite, it's just opposite the sea. We're 2 meters from the Causeway coastal route.
Yes.
So for us, that was a perfect site, because I think there's one day a young fella, Christy McNaughton, owns Lir Bar, or Sambo owns Lir Bar in Cushendall. They were painting it, and they counted 78 coaches in one day. Going through, so we have tour, but they don't stop. Nobody stops in the Glens; they just drive straight through. There's nothing to stop for, because they're, some people stop because the curfew tour. It's a lovely area and they stay over, but they drive past. So for me, I'm going, okay, look, we have to get the site, because tourism's going to have to be a big thing for us, and tourists every tourist spends about £40 or £50. So if I can get 30 or 40,000 tourists going through that every year, put a restaurant and tour, just a distillery tour, same as what all their distilleries are slowly catching on to now. We need to get the visitors in.
Yeah.
So 2018, 2019, I think we logged to put in the distillery, got the designs made. That was 2019, 2021 for 2023. We only get it past 2 months ago.
2 months ago?
February, March, April, May. Just the time's going that quick.
A few months ago,
yeah. That's how long it took. Over 3 years. We're in the Causeway Coast and Glens.
Oh, yeah.
Bang my head off a wall. Everybody's the same. Nobody's getting anything passed on time. I had to start going, what the fuck is going on here? We had 3 or 4 objectors. So, but even at that, the rest of the village was going, when he's going, hurry up, build it. Because it's good for the community.
It's good for everyone.
And it's just, there are some objectors were going,
what was the reason?
There's bats in the field. There's no bats. Oh, fucking hell. So I had to do a bat survey.
Yes,
so whenever I'd done that, I'd done every animal under the sun.
You should have put Batman just flying around,
jumping
around the field.
We don't like bats.
I took a video.
And okay, yeah, bats are important, and so's wildlife, but there was nothing on the bloody site.
Aye, yeah.
And there's a building on the site, and it's a site for industrial use as well. It was an old IDB site years ago, so it is for a big square. If I wanted to put up a big square potato shed, we could put it there for storage or doing something out of, which wouldn't have been nice within the area, because there's houses around it. So we tried to put, let's get a nice building, let's put it together. But even with bats, I went, okay, they're going to hit us. So if it wasn't going to be bats, and we would have, okay, we've got that. There's 3-4 months gone with things going back and forward. Yeah. Next thing would be newts. And then that way another side went, do everything under the sun, every animal that you think that they're going to come up against. So I'd done everything, one survey. the whole thing.
St. Patrick.
So you have to. So that. But anyway, so long story short, we got it passed eventually.
Deadly.
Congratulations.
Aye.
Yeah, it was a long time waiting. So in between that, we created a brand. We wanted to create a brand while we're slowly doing this.
Yeah.
So when we opened, we've got a brand ready to go because when we start our distillation, it's going to be 3 years before we can use the whiskey ourselves.
Yep.
That's right.
So we wanted to create a brand while we're doing that. So I went to West Cork. I spoke to John O'Connell at West Cork, and they produce private label or for other brands. He'll not just do it for anybody, but I had a good connection with him. He said, come up and see me. I had a good connection. He said, okay, what do you want? So we'd done about a year of whiskey going back and forward, tasting it and getting it right.
R&D just...
Yeah, just there was a lot of that going on, looking at the shape of the bottle, the design. Delayed with the Ukraine war, delayed the bottles, or delayed the caps. A lot of the tin and the cork comes out of Ukraine. That just dried up. So stuff that happens in the world affects what you're doing in business as well. But in between that, so we agreed, we looked at the whiskey, we done some tastings, and our whiskey's got grain, single malt, and I wanted it rested in American oak because it gives a different profile. Most whiskies are either grain, single malt, or grain and single malt. So I wanted something slightly different. So that's why it costs a wee bit more to rest it in American oak, and that gives a different flavour profile again. So we got the whiskey while we were doing that. The design, everything's sitting there waiting on the building being passed. So we're pushing the whiskey out locally here, and that's a bit like the crisps. It will take 5, 6, 7 years before you're an established brand. I went out to New York last year to try and push it out there. American market's big for whiskey. Fuck, what a nightmare. It is so difficult. You go into the bars there, very supportive. A fella, Tom McGrath, for Man and Man's been out for America for 50 years, left. Fermanagh went out, started in the sewers, cleaning the sewers in around Manhattan, got an opportunity to buy a bar in where's it, Woodside over, I'm just trying to think which part of Manhattan it is. Wasn't in with Manhattan itself, over by Brooklyn somewhere. Simon and Tom, blah blah blah. He actually was a cousin. He was an aunt of mine through marriage, cousin. So Tom, I was about 75 or 80.
Yeah.
Great, helped me know when, knew everybody, and everybody comes in there. Just an established bar. It's called the Black Sheep. Right. And if anybody wants to visit it, great bar, 38th on 3rd. That's where it's at. And then there's another bars, Mustang Harry's, 37th on 7th. To Ian and Niall Conroy from Tipperary. Give you a start. Sure, Michael, like the whiskey. Let's go, let's give it a push. But it's a so established market with Jameson, because they've been used to Jameson for years. They all come in. The barmen actually have to try this new whiskey.
Almost a sales team, aren't they?
And then you have somebody in the ground pushing it. So I started off, I went round myself. I must have hit every bar, walked every street. Look. You see that?
No shoes left.
They're done.
Yeah.
I did about 20 kilometres a day. I didn't, because there was no point in using the subway. Because every corner was an Irish bar, everywhere else.
You want to see them all?
Yeah. And there was good people there that helped as well. So you go up to here, go and see this one. John Fitzpatrick, who owns the Grand Central in Manhattan itself. There's a couple of hotels there. He owns a hotel, and I met him as well. He got me into his bar in the bottom of the hotel. So you get established, but it's not. It's hard to sell it, and the cost to do business in Manhattan is colossal. Like a salesman there. Well, $100,000 a year
Is that before commission?
That's before you even, and it's a whole lot of it's
I've
regulated.
got my CV here for you.
A whole lot of it's regulated as well.
Sure, you even like whiskey. How are you going to sell it?
Here, you know me, I can sell something anyway.
But I know some of the bars, what are the bars is doing, because of COVID, there's a stockpile of Irish whiskey there, and they're offloading, they're dumping it in the market. My whiskey's not selling.
Yeah.
The bottles in the bar, it always seems to be, how's it sell? Fucking, it's going well. Fucking, they're buying cheap whiskey, or they're buying and they're pouring it into bottles.
Yeah,
they're not even doing it with whiskey, they're doing it with everything across the board.
That's not illegal, is it?
Is that the stockpiles from COVID?
Yeah, of course it is, but they have to survive. They're on. Some of them are just surviving on no more, so they'll do anything. So there's pouring the bottles happening. It's happening steady. So I'm kind of pulling back, and the bars, I suspect, are doing it. But look what happens here. It happens here as well. And you can't. There's nobody going to say anything because you don't say anything. That's just the rule. Yeah. Take the bottle and smash it, and go, just walk out of the bar or whatever. So that's a difficult market.
What about the name?
So Lir Irish Whiskey. So we come up with a name. We have to tie something to the area where we're at. So the Children of Lir, I come up with the Children of Lir because in 300 years they sat out in the Sea of Moyle, and we're on the Sea of Moyle on the Irish Sea. So that created the story of Lir Irish Whiskey. And that's kind of where we wanted our blend that we've got at the minute to be. And we'll have that probably for the next 10, 15 years, say 10 years, till we start blending our own whiskey into that. Into that there. But out of the distillery itself, I'm going to be producing pot still. I want to go back to the old way, and some of the distilleries are starting to do it now.
Yes.
But you have to have the right equipment to make pot still. Some of the distilleries are making pot still with equipment that's only suitable to make grain whiskey. Pot.
Yeah. Is that
what do you mean by pot still?
Pot still's the old. It's
I can visualize what you're talking about.
Aye.
I don't know what the difference is. You know?
So grain's just like ordinary grain. Malted barley, obviously, it's sprouted. Pot still is done a different way with different grains and a mixture of grains. So there is what they call a mash bill, and it has to be of specific quantities to be fit to call it pot still.
Yes.
Technique. There's a technique around it, and that's what your red breast would be.
Oh, really?
Some of it would be pot still. So if you look at the bottle, it'll say pot still, and if you do get a pot still, some of them could be very good. Now you can get pot still, some of it could be fucking horrible.
Does it? Is more expensive to produce it?
Oh, it does. Oh, yeah, totally. Probably 20% more, maybe even 25%.
Wow.
Depends on the size of your still distillation. Once you fire up your stills, you want to keep them going. Even if you had to keep them going for 3 or 4 weeks and then shut them down, 24 hours a day, keep them going, keep the energy flowing, keep it warm, and that's where you'll drive your efficiencies.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of learning all this in amongst doing crisps and doing everything else.
You're a knowledgeable man.
It's all a time game, isn't it? It's all like you're setting them up. And
You're juggling stuff all the time.
Playing the long game.
Yeah, there is a bit of that as well. Now, if a brother in the business and his wife's in the Mary is in the business as well, Mary looks after the crisps and looks after the kind of sales of the whiskey and stuff, because it's nearly too much for.
It would be.
It's nearly even too much for three of us trying to manage all together in the business, and
it's just different markets as well.
It's different when you're trying to push into a new market. So America for us at the minute, we're not going to focus on it. We're going to focus more on the Northern Ireland market. There's a UK, market in the UK, and we bit into Europe. There's a guy in Spain who's wanting to bring into Spain. There's somebody in Sweden looking at it in Sweden. But in the minute, the Swedish, is it Corona, I want to say, or is that Dutch? Whatever their currency is, it's a wee bit weak at the minute. So it's actually to buy the whiskey will be very expensive.
Yes.
So there's a wee bit of that in the market. It could be the market's just not right for my whiskey, which is more premium.
Yeah.
And once you go premium, you're talking 3% of the whole world marketplace.
Yeah.
And look at how many premium whiskies is out there.
Aye.
But whenever I went into Manhattan and speak to distributors, have you got a distillery? Are you producing your own? No. Come back to us. You're going to build one? Great. Come back to us whenever you've one built.
Yeah.
So they said, otherwise you're just another brand to us. You need a bit of backbone.
It's the confidence in it.
Yeah, you need to have your own distillery for them to fit to say this is our supplier in Ireland with their distillery and tell the
story.
You have to tell that story.
Yeah. You definitely have the story there, though. 100%. The reason I found out about the whiskey was someone reached out to me randomly and just goes, "You need to get this guy on your podcast." I goes, "Why?" He goes, "Because his name is Whiskey Lir." Yeah. We named my son Lir before Christmas. It was just random. We found the name. I've told the story on here plenty of time. We found the name, and then I knew the story of King Lir
and the Children of Lir.
Yeah. And then it ended up being like the pagan god of the sea as well. Like it's a very strong name, and he loved telling the story about it. Like it's a strong name.
And it's a strong name. Yeah, definitely. And
the story's interesting. And a story helps brands. Like
it really does.
And for us, but that tied us to the area as well, exactly. And we're the distillery, and we're right by the sea.
Yeah.
So we're kind of, that's where we've got. Maybe open up a bottle here and just.
Of course.
I was waiting for this moment.
So that's the bottle there.
You get that out of there.
So that is we done this at 43.3% volume, and again, just give it that wee bit more. A whole lot of whiskies 40%, but newer whiskies now are going a bit higher in strength.
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah, they are going 43, 44, up to 45 and 46, depending what they want to do with it. But this is like our entry range here. Once you taste it, you'll understand. You get the notes coming through, but you don't get the burn. See, for somebody that doesn't really like whiskey, has tried this and going, actually, that's quite smooth.
Yeah.
It's more elegant than anything.
You get this man.
That's your man, John. You're pointing at John here.
Is this the green? Is this the Lir green?
That's the green crest there.
This is it here. This is the one I see you've been mixing with, or you've been using on cocktails as well.
That's one we would use for the cocktails, because it's quite nice. But for me, I'm a whiskey drinker, so it's one ice cube for me.
Aye.
With this one.
We'll give it a wee go anyway. Talk to us about the bottle a wee bit.
I love the branding, by the way.
The bottle. If you look at most whiskey bottles, they're round, and there's a reason for that, because when you go to put on the label, the machines are equipped for round bottles. Right. Yeah, and so the big manufacturer, the whiskey manufacturers, go, do a round bottle. We don't want square bottles. We can't really do it. Mm-hmm. So everybody goes for a round bottle. We put in our own wee manual bottling line ourselves. So we do it, from start to finish, we do it ourselves.
It's to be a bit different as well.
And the labels, we put it on the front and on the back. This here's etched on from the manufacturer. The Lir Irish whiskey there, and the brand, just the green crest. And again, when we got the bottle made, we got the Glens of Antrim distillery embossed on the side.
Some of the swans that you have everywhere as well.
It is. It's kind of bringing it. There's a bit of a story there to it as well. The Children of Lir and the Four Swans.
Yeah.
So we went with a bottle that kind of stands out, and we wanted one that shows the liquid.
Yes.
You can see.
You see the darkness.
It's nice, and then you see how quickly you're drinking it as well. So it's not a dark bottle. I'm not going to pour one of this because I know what it's like, but I let John and.
Did you want one?
Did you have one?
Aye, a wee bottle. I'll take a wee sip.
I'm sure you might as well.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it smells lovely.
You'll get toffee and vanilla coming through in that.
Yeah,
very sweet. See your first bit, because you're eating crisp. See the first bit, just put a wee taste in your mouth to open up the taste buds, and that'll get rid of what you've had earlier.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm alright. Ooh.
Is this a sipping whiskey?
It would be. So we entered that to a whiskey award in Top 50 Irish whiskies, and we got double gold for it.
I could drink that.
That's lovely.
Anybody that listens.
So smooth, but you can taste.
It's got a kick
get the toffee and the vanilla,
yeah.
but it doesn't actually kill the burn of the throat. Some whiskey I'm trying going, like I said, some whiskey's back in the bar at the house and going out.
That's one anybody could drink.
Yeah.
Because if I could drink that, sometimes I drink
It's
it. And I'm
lovely.
like, "Whoa, that's lovely. That's really nice." And I like how we
Trying
burn at the
to-
end.
I'm trying to see
really nice.
what it's like. Like if it's, I can't really.
No.
Oh, it's totally. We wanted something. See, and you have to be.
Is that the bar? Or,
Jesus Christ.
No more of that whiskey's run to the head.
That Lir Whiskey's class. Right. I'll get a wee bit here. Just take it a wee bit.
it's unique. It definitely is. That's lovely.
That went down too well, you know.
But you'll get a slight, maybe with the. You get a slight, maybe a wee bit of bourbon coming through at the end there because
Is that the American?
that's the American oak coming
That's the
through.
oak?
But ever so
Yes.
slight.
Aye.
That's from the barrel, yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's lovely. Is it each of these done in American barrel as well?
No, so that was our first one there, and that's what we kind of started off with. And then I'm looking at, okay, one bottle isn't really enough to go to the market with. I wanted something different. So we rested, and a lot of other whiskey distilleries do this as well. But we rested it. I wanted a PX sherry cask finish, and I wanted an Oloroso sherry cask finish.
Yes. Love a sherry
Love
cask.
a sherry cask.
So we said, right, that's a great whiskey, so we'll use the same whiskey. So we've rested it in PX from a good PX cask, and so when we done it at 43.3%, which is this, it was nearly overpowering too much. So we upped the volume to 46.
Right.
No, 45. I get that right. I bring it in at 46 and then I bring it down to 45.
45.
Because once it sits in the sherry cask, it will
Is it a
lose.
bit? Is it a bit red or is it the
Oh, totally. You
yeah,
see
you
the
can see the
difference.
difference there,
So that's
yeah.
the sherry coming through in that.
Yes.
Now,
That's lovely colour.
once you taste this, people taste it going. There's a guy that only buys in the Duke of York in Belfast. He says, "Why one customer comes in, it has to be this.
Yeah.
He has to stock it for him."
That's a good sign.
That is a very good sign.
There we go.
And this is
You'll need this because you'll drink all of that. John.
the red crest.
Yeah.
Oh, you can smell the difference straight away.
We had another.
I mean, just so I can wet my lips with it, lad. I don't want to measure it.
We had another whiskey.
No half measures here. I'll take a wee bit of this one now because I know that's quite.
Nice.
Oh my God! Get away from me. That is a bit of me. That.
So you're getting that. You're getting the smoothness again,
Oh, that's nice.
and then you're getting that PX through.
Do you know what I'm noticing about this? It's
Totally.
like there's an aftertaste, and that's when it kicks in. So usually when you're hitting it, usually when you touch it, you're like, oh, but it kind of takes a wee
and then
bit to
it's-
build, doesn't it?
Yeah, that is.
Now, I do that myself. I rest that, and then we taste it. I have a mate that helps as well. He goes on the money there. And that's all it is. There's nothing, no science behind it going, do we think that's right? We like that, yes.
Yeah.
And we do that with each cask. Is that the same as the other one? I think it's spot on, and that's what we do.
Oh, that's tasty. Like
That one is.
We have another session next week, a tasting going down, and we go down, and we'll because we had stuff resting in the Oloroso. It wasn't ready. About a month ago, we said we'll come back in a month to see how it has progressed from there.
And that's
But
the red. That's the
red crest.
That's what we're drinking now.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's very reasonable priced.
yeah, it is.
It's nearly too cheap. The market. It is the market, but see the market from when probably that's maybe. Yeah, that should probably be about £46. It should be for a whiskey.
Aye. Like if you had like the
I'd add some more money to that.
if you had like the red breast, like I would
Yeah.
put that up against.
Totally. That one. That one and that won an award as well. The red won double gold as well.
That's really nice.
And everybody that's tried it has said that's as good as Redbreast.
I'd put that up against it for sure.
It's lovely. Really.
I get
For a blend, that's perfect. It's perfect. But that's one of the reasons why, I went to John in West Cork, because he'd produce it for me the way I want. Great Northern Distillery do it for a whole lot of other ones, but I didn't want that. I went further afield.
Yeah.
It's a longer drive, but Cork's a great place anyway.
Cork's beautiful.
And there's a bit of history down there. When you're down, you go through all over the place. His place is in Skibbereen, so it's perfect. But yeah, so there's that one, and then the black. So we wanted something slightly, that's a sweeter version. So this here wouldn't be. Get this here. I like this one. And again, the colour just slightly off.
So the red's a bit darker.
The red's darker.
It's got a richer colour.
It's a richer colour, just with that PX.
Black scares me. It reminds me of the black slopes skiing.
You never did the black slopes, did you?
It's dangerous. I never did the black slopes. Oh, chance.
I was forced down.
So this one just is totally different. It's maybe whenever you're used to the PX one, maybe should have had this one first. But
why did I eat that crisp first? That was so stupid.
You just trying to drink more whiskey, lad.
I have to do the wee sippy thing.
And each has its own different flavour profiles. And
So sorry, what's the black again? What's the behind the story of that?
it's again 45%, and again just resting it in Oloroso sherry casks.
Yeah.
Which is a different type of sherry cask. And again, we just go in and we taste it once a month. Again, yeah, that's where we want it to be, based on our own. With me been drinking different whiskies, as I said, I go out there. There's even whiskies produced locally now, and from even a whole lot of the new distilleries now are still, they'll buy their liquid in, because it's 5 or 6 years before they start and use their own. So the new distilleries are all buying their liquid in, same as us. And I'm tasting some of the whiskies, and I'm mentioning any names. God, Jesus, it's not good whiskey. Yeah. It's not.
This is almost like a smooth. That one's like lovely and sweet, and it's smooth also. But this is like probably slightly.
It's a wee bit bitter.
Less one.
The black ones would be.
I feel a bit more.
I call it a bit slightly bitter, but not. It's an in between the both of them, really. Mm-hmm. Black and red. They say I kept them the same price because the sherry cask cost roughly the same
price,
and it's the same resting period.
So it's just whatever the customer prefers then.
Yeah, but again, the whiskey market has increased 20% from last year, so you will see whiskey prices go up. They're starting to filter through now, and they'll go up again because there's a lot of malted barley with the bad weather. Mm-hmm. So that's going to impact maybe next year.
Yep.
Or the next.
Supply and demand.
So, is that the thing? Like, I always see trends when it comes to alcohol, especially spirits. It's like one year it'll be everyone's drinking vodka, and then everyone's gin. Remember, gin was always the thing, and then it seems to be whiskey is now.
Whiskey's coming into trend. Slowly coming into trend, and I think it's because there's new and exciting things being done with it. Like we're looking at again rum casks, and we can do. And there's
that'd be nice.
There's rum casks.
That's one.
And you can do a pot still, and you can then from pot still into a rum cask into a sherry cask. So you can create a whole new different everything.
Yeah. Would you ever look into poaching or anything like that there? Or?
Poaching. It's the marketing of poaching.
Yeah.
And there is poaching, but nobody knows what to do with it.
I know.
And you know, some of your local bars, you're probably drinking it anyway. You don't know it. It's vodka.
Yeah. It's something about poaching that you buy in a shop and a bottle.
It doesn't seem right.
No matter if it was the best poaching in the world, I wouldn't buy it.
My uncle didn't brew this in his bathtub. I'm not taking this.
There are still odd wee stills about.
But that's what I'm worried about.
But see, you get that. That's you can't produce that in a big still.
No.
That's
yet that genuine in the corner of a barn. You can smell that, and there's different. I'm not saying I'm just in case. HMRC come down and
start taxing you.
I had an uncle. He's dead now. Jim. He died 2 years ago, and he got the yeast for Mickey McElhatton.
From the famous song.
Mickey McHallen, He
Oh no way!
he would have got on his bike and went into Cushendall to get the yeast and stuff from the hardware or wherever they got the yeast, and they all had it for making bread and stuff, so that was normal. And they've been told local sergeant's coming down from Ballymena, he's doing a raid on the Glens, and he would have filtered that through back, but he would have said, Mickey, get your still shifted and stuff. And then the local police guy, obviously in cahoots with the locals, because he wanted an easy life of going, fuck, look, there was a still, and he would have brought them to a still.
Oh God, Jesus, it's gone now.
Gone. Boys had it.
Just an empty patch of
and he told me stories about, the whole, and the Glens, because he was there, he was about 90, so he had lots of stories and told me about Mickey McHallen and I didn't, my only regret was I didn't get him on tape with the history, and I kicked myself and I thought, fuck, I should have, because that's history gone.
Maybe there's a whiskey blend that there's a story that you can filtrate there that
there'll be something, but again, it's one of them, to get people to understand it, to put money behind to market it, you're banging your head off a wall. Sometimes you can be too soon in the market. Maybe 5 years' time, locals here and all over Ireland will get it.
Not any further.
Not any. There is some been done in New York, but again, they'll buy it, but it sits on the shelf because people
don't know what to do.
Don't want to do with it. Do you want to try this? But everybody's creatures of habit.
When
they go out. And nowadays, people's not going out as often.
No.
So when you do go out, I want the red breast, or I want the Lir red. I don't want to try, what's that pot? I'm not so sure, I'm only out for one night. So that's changing the market profile as well. So it's how you market things, right? But to do that, you need deep pockets.
You're right. My only fear is that it's one of those things where you'd be worried about it losing. Like, no, the poaching will be it's going to come to a point where it's
Not when I'm still here. Like, I will have. So out of the distillery itself, we are going to do a gin. We'll do a wee bit of rum, and we'll do vodka. And we'll do a poaching to have.
Just to have it.
You can buy it out of the distillery. It'll be bespoke to the Glens. So it'll be Glens.
That's awesome.
Stuff in it. So
that's for the tourists.
That's for the tourists, because the tourists will buy that. You won't get this anywhere else in the world. Now's your chance.
Love that idea.
And they'll get
Love that idea.
Can you explain this for anybody that doesn't know? Like, what is the difference then than your whiskey and your poaching? Because it's all the same process of distill and distill. But what is it that makes poaching and whiskey?
It's so
because your whiskey comes out clear.
It comes out. Whiskey comes out clear. That's actually poaching.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it goes into the barrels. So that's basically what it is. And your mash bill that you put in while you're doing the distillation process will give you whatever flavour you want out. So you can add maybe 5% more grain or more malted barley in there to create
a wee bit of touch and go.
and probably that is a bit of learning in your mash bill. You might go, that didn't work, it doesn't taste as good. So there is a bit of that, but it is. But most gins are brought in, distilled once and put the botanicals in it.
That was that fad that was happening for a few years there. Like, it was.
People say, you can into gin, sure, the market. I'm not selling you gin. You can get it out of the distillery if you want to buy it in the distillery. I go to a buyer. Do not talk about gin. It's horrible. Don't even go there. Don't even. So we'll do other things. But on your, I went to Seattle, place Tacoma. A guy, he was doing brown sugar bourbon. Ooh. So I went to him and he was like, come on in, what's your name? I went, McKillop, that's great, from Ireland, come in. That's a great name, I should have a name like that. And the Max, brilliant. Fucking could have been McDonald or and he was, this is what we do, he was a wee small operation the size of this room, but he was going steady. And he was brown sugar bourbon. He put a bit of brown sugar in it. It was bourbon. Created a different profile. But he had 40 different vodkas.
Jesus.
He'd bacon vodka. He'd this vodka. But the tourists were coming in, wanting to taste all this. And whenever they're in there tasting it, they bought a bottle.
Yeah.
So he was creating a nice niche. You can't. Where do you get a bacon vodka?
Yeah.
And that's not why I wouldn't drink it.
I love going over there. I like his idea though.
But some people just go, I love it. Americans, geez, I love it. Bacon flavour, it's meat, right? I'm taking a bottle of that. But
something different.
God, I can't wait till you have this distillery opened up and you have. That's such a good idea. You'll have your repotching and all the different things. You'll do the tour, and then what about the restaurant? Then, do you have any ideas for that yet? Or
we do a lot of travel. We're foodies. But again, we have to make it affordable. We want to use stuff from the Glens. We want to do. I like wholesome food. Like you go into some restaurants and even visitor centre and go, fucking, I want a decent meal. Give me homemade shepherd's pie.
Yeah.
It's made homemade. It's made by somebody that does it the way you want it to do.
You can see her in the background sweating.
Yeah. And we'll do probably themes as well. Maybe a steak night, but it will be maybe ticketed. But this is like, it's good steak.
Good stuff. Yeah.
It's stuff it's not going to be any.
We'll go up to that, isn't it?
Any grizzle through it, but it's done right, and there's create a whole thing about it. But when we do that, they're going to stop over. People's going to stay the night. They're just going to get a lot of drinks. So for the local community and the economies, B&Bs, there'll be places to stay, and the local bars. We'll have a bar in it as well. But the local bars, once you go, let's go down to Cushendall or over to Waterfoot and do other bars as well.
100%.
So we're creating that whole thing in around as a destination to stop, but doing it right. It's not just we want, for ourselves, we want to do it right. Even if that means we're getting 20% less people there, but we're doing it right. When you arrive and you want that you're number 5 on TripAdvisor, 4 out of 5 points, or 4.4 or 5. We want to be up there. Food was good coffee,
class,
homemade ice cream. There's maybe somebody, even homemade butter.
Yeah.
Other things will sprout up. And we try and create.
You're tying in. You're tying in all the potatoes there as well.
We'll do different. Here's mashed potato, here's a baked potato, or it might be some of these speciality potatoes that I have in my head going down the line as well. Because Americans, anytime the Americans heard about the lumpers, they want to take it home. They want to take it home. You can't. Soil born, you can't take it over to America because you're breaking the
laws. Yeah.
The laws there. But we'll create a whole theme around it, but we'll do it right. But it's more so whenever you arrive in there till you leave, you're felt VIP. You felt you've got an experience and it's good fun. And that's what we kind of want to create out of there. And good whiskey as well.
That's it.
I want to retire, at some point.
How long do you think it's going to take you guys to get that up and running?
Because it takes a lot of money to do. We can build it and put the equipment in, but the money is resting the whiskey. That's the cost. So we're looking at investors. We have an investment plan there on casks. So within the distillery itself, the tasting room, there are 300 casks. We're going to have 900 casks in total for sale, and that's 900 years, 300 years in the different areas for the children of Lir that we were in.
There?
Look, yeah.
See a Moyle, Loch Darava?
Yeah,
Ennisglora. And I live in Ennisglora.
Yeah.
It's the same oil that's the area that you're in, isn't it?
Yeah, the same oil is where we're at. So in that one there, it's a bit more, but you get the kudos to your names in there in the tasting room. So it'll be JB from Seattle, and that'll be, so it's more like a founder's cast. You get your name on the wall. Other distilleries do the same thing. It's your whiskey. If you want to keep it for 10 years or 5 years, or Michael, can you put it into a sherry cask for me once it's ready? The cost is probably the same as buying the whiskey on the open market anyway. But you're helping the founding of the whiskey.
You're putting in money and funding the asset before it actually becomes...
That's right. This is helping fund it. But the main, once you're producing a lot, once you fire up them, you need investment. So I'm looking at bigger investors.
Yeah.
There's investors interested from America, Germany. I believe some investors locally want to invest in it.
Brilliant.
But we're pulling that package together now. So, look, that'll take 3 or 4 months to do that. It takes a year to build it.
That's quick.
I've already researched it a bit, and we reckon take a year. Will take a year to build it. It's the distillation equipment. I want to bring it. First Ives in Scotland are the best guys at making copper stills. They put that bit. They do it the old-fashioned way, so they're beating it with hammers. But they put that bit more copper in it, maybe 2 mil more copper than other manufacturers in Europe.
So it lasts longer? Or?
That could last 20 years. Other equipment starts to go 9 years, 12 years, and then they have to replace the whole thing.
You may as well invest.
At master. So buy good from the start. But he's got a list of... So he said, look, depends when you want to put your order in. It could be a year, it could be 18 months before you get it. But while we're doing that, it's easy to make gin and the rest anyway. We have our own whiskey brand. So we can, once we get it up and going, we'll have everything else come along. If it means making whiskey in 6 months' time, our own, that's fine. So we're on a wee journey here.
Brilliant. No, it sounds classic. We'll stick this out on LinkedIn as well, and people can see it on LinkedIn too. And we've 2,000, 3,000 followers.
Yeah, that's good.
Hopefully, there's someone out there.
Yeah, bring your cash, bring your check.
Get your cash. Get your cash. Lear's sponsoring us now as well. No, look, Michael, thank you very much for coming.
That was class.
That was great fun. That was class. It was some journey anyway, going through from the potatoes to the crisps.
Yes,
to Lir Whiskey, like it was class. I really enjoyed it. I'm a wee bit tipsy as well. Like, so obviously a good night's crack. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you, Michael.
Wish you all the best in the coming months as well. Congratulations on the distillery.
That's
breaking ground. We wish you well on potatoes, Glens of Antrim crisps, the shindig sound like some crack, and all the Lir whiskey as well.
Ernest Hemingway.
Yes.
That's who you would like. That's the third person at the table.
Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah.
What a way to end it.
We got there.
Just come into my head. Jeez, I didn't remember the third person.
Maybe you should Ernest Hemingway and the Dalai Lama.
Yeah. They probably wouldn't agree at the table.
It doesn't matter. No, brilliant. We'll cue the board on there and finish it up. Thanks very much, Michael.
Thank you.
That was unreal.
That's fucking brilliant whiskey.